afternoon to you and a warm welcome to the Day's Counter. My name is Lucy Riley and indeed this is the only business show that brings to you the latest in the world of business and grows your income and wealth. You can interact with me on the social media platforms. That's at TV47KE and at Lucy_Riley. You can also send in a text message to 22047 or you can call in with the number that appears on the bottom right of your screen. Our topic of discussion today will be centered around how you can save more and reduce your debt. But for now, let's take a look at the top stories that are making headlines in the world of business. Now, Sunday, Kenyans were treated to a presidential directive on the country's next move on handling coronavirus-19. In a press statement at the Harambee House, the head of state announced that all schools will be closed effective Monday, March 16th, banned the entry of travelers from coronavirus-hit countries, and encouraged work from home after 2 additional cases of COVID-19 were confirmed in Kenya. Now, this as the International Monetary Fund reckons that about 1/3 of the economic loss from the disease will be direct costs from loss of lives, workplace closures and quarantines. The remaining 2/3 will be indirect, reflecting a retrenchment in consumer confidence and business behavior and a tightening in financial markets. Take a look.
All persons who have come into Kenya in the last 14 days must self-quarantine. If any person exhibits symptoms such as cough or fever, they should present themselves to the nearest health facility for testing. Number 4, we have suspended learning in all our education institutions with immediate effect. Consequently, and to facilitate a phased approach, primary and secondary day schools are to suspend operations from tomorrow. For those in boarding schools, the school administration is to ensure that students are home by Wednesday, the 18th March 2020, while universities and tertiary institutions are to close by Friday, 20th March 2020.
There is nothing we are leaving to chance, and I can emphasize that we have given them equipment. We have got a list of their wish lists of the things that they will want to put in their level 4 and level 5 hospitals.
Now, as the country continues to take note and actually do what is necessary in order to contain and restrain the actual COVID-19 from spreading, we need to take a look at how the businesses are doing. And business is not normal anymore in town. Our very own Vanessa Ndavi went out to the streets to speak to small vendors so as to have a clear understanding of what effect this killer virus had on their business. Take a look.
A very good afternoon to you. We took you to the street today to get to understand what coronavirus has caused to the small business owners in Nairobi. And I'm joined here by Calvin, who sells sugarcane on the streets of Nairobi, to talk to him and tell us more about his business, as well as how much does he know about this virus in town. Habari gani?
Poa.
Mimi nataka uniambie, unajua nini juu ya coronavirus?
Corona bado mimi sijaishwa, lakini nasikia kutoka kwa radio.
Na hii biashara unafanya ndio unatumia kulisha familia yako na inasaidia watu wangapi? Na sasa wewe uogopi ukakuwa mgonjwa? Manake sioni hata kama uko na mask ya kujizuia.
Kwa hiyo mask bado sijajua mali venye wananuanga, alafu ndio ninunue tu, bado sijajua mask. Unajua mask aina ya mingi.
Na wewe uogopi kitu yote kikufanyikia saa hii utaweza kusaidia familia yako, na unasaidia watu gani ama watu wangapi na hii biashara yako?
Sasa mimi nasaidia familia yangu na sasa wangu, lakini sasa ni kwa sasa sina familia kwanza sasa hii.
Na ujogopa labda lazima ujizuie ndio biashara yako iendelee, manake hapa ndio unapata mkato wako kila siku?
Sasa kujizuia najua labda sasa nilale tu kwa nyumba, lakini kujizuia tu hapa ati unasikia kifo, hiyo ni ngoli. Hawezi zuia kifo, kama imekupata imesha kupata. Lakini sasa kama umesasikia ni noma, nasema tu cha hatari.
Kwa siku kwa hii kazi unapata kama pesa ngapi hivi?
Najua hii kazi inategemea tu na siku. Kama jua imeweka mzuri, pia unapata pesa. Sasa hapa ndio nitatoka na 1,000 ama na 500. Kisha.
Nadhani serikali inafaa kufanya nini juu ya kujuliza watu juu ya coronavirus?
Sasa nasema serikali ilikuwa ingefanya chuza hii, hata labda kuna wengine pia wako nayo. Ingepima kila mtu mwenye ako nayo aende. Sasa ukifanya sasa lazima usifiche kwa nyumba. Pia tu lazima mtu hawezi kutumia pesa ateni bobo kwa simu. Hiyo ni noma pia. Kuna mtu angepimwa mwenye ako nayo aenda akitibiwa tu pole pole.
Asante. So it is clearly very sad that not many know about coronavirus in the country. And as businessmen, as Calvin is here right now trying to earn a living out of what he can do at the moment to survive and raise his family and also help his family, it's really important that we took an extra care or measure to ensure that many are educated about this virus. Reporting for TV47, my name is Vanessa Ndavi.
Right, thank you very much for that story, Vanessa Ndavi. And indeed, it's very sad that a lot of business people, especially at the mashinani level also, do not quite understand the COVID-19, and more measures need to be taken in order to sensitize the public on what should be done and how we can prevent it from spreading. Now, moving on, manufacturers and retailers capitalizing on the coronavirus pandemic to hike prices risk a hefty fines of up to 10% of their annual turnover. Key items used for protection against the spread of the virus have seen a price increase almost 700%. Now, hand sanitizers that were retailing at 300 shillings per bottle was being sold at 1,400 shillings yesterday at a city chemist, while surgical masks are retailing at 3,000 shillings a pack in pharmacies, with a number of outlets running out of stock. Ordinarily, a box of surgical masks cost around 350 shillings. Sophia Ali with that story.
Just a day after the President of the Republic of Kenya announced the state of emergency following the outbreak of coronavirus, we stepped out into the street to find out how are people accessing the hand sanitizers that were recommended by the head of state, and also the face masks that many Kenyans are putting on the streets in order to avoid or protect themselves from the coronavirus. And when we went out into the streets and went into one of the chemists around on Ngong Road, we found out that hand sanitizers are going for as low as 550 shillings to 1,500 shillings, depending on the size and the brand. We also asked for the face mask, and we were told that the face mask goes for as low as 30 shillings to 800 shillings, depending on the quality. And therefore, these are some of the face masks that we were able to access, and I was going to show you to see. And we asked them the stocks, how are the stocks performing, and we were told that they are moving really fast, whereby we are being told the face masks are being sold for not less than 20 packs per day. And he says that this is not the usual norm of Kenyans, whereby they hardly sell this mask. However, right now the masks are going on a very high speed, whereby they are also selling the hand sanitizers from 20 or as low as 20 bottles per day. And therefore also we were inquiring for Kenyans who cannot afford some of these hand sanitizers and the face mask, what are the alternatives? And we were just told briefly that some of the alternatives to the hand sanitizers are some surgical spirit, soaps and wipes, and also depending on the type of mask, whereby there is an N95 whereby it is a reusable face mask. There is also the mask that you cannot reuse, which you must dispose them immediately after use, and therefore you're told to avoid reusing the face mask, because after using it once, if it is non-reusable face mask, then it is useless to you, and therefore you're prone to getting infected to this coronavirus. All we can do is hope for the best. Sophia Ali, TV 47.
Thank you very much for that story, Sophia Ali. And I'm sure with the voice note that was actually sent to a lady called Ivy earlier on that has been circulating regarding how we can actually use the very simple methods such as sanitizer and washing your hands thoroughly, we can be able to reduce the risk of passing this particular virus. Now, it's time to take a look at the business voices and see what is in store for us.
So these businesses remain what you see. This is the typical business that you have here. And some of us may not see them as what creates livelihoods. But whether you're running a little businesses, your own carpentry shop, you're doing your own furniture, or whether you're doing some smart digital electricals in an area in Nairobi or in Mombasa or in Kisumu, you can replicate this kind of job opportunities every single place and hopefully be able to target the 4-5 million youth who look for opportunities for themselves.
Right, now moving on, let's take a look at how the Kenya shilling is trading against other currencies worldwide. Right now, let's take a look at more business stories around the world. KCB Group PLC delivered improved profitability and higher returns to shareholders for the full year ending December 2019, posting a 5% jump in profit after tax to 25.2 billion shillings. Now, this was a result of loan book growth, non-funded income from the digital banking, and cost management initiatives across the bank. Take a look.
Looking at net advances, loans and advances, yeah, it's moving. Again, a very strong growth of 17%, which has been boosted up with the numbers that have come in from NBK, just under 8% growth like for like. From a sectorial point of view, corporates led the way from the growth with 25% growth, followed by retail and mortgage coming in at 7%.
2019 proved to be especially tough for the business community, but was certainly much better than prior year 2018. The KCB Group made significant strides to drive growth across all its businesses, re-looking at every facet of its operations in every country that it operates in. The year 2019 was the acquisition by the KCB Group of the National Bank of Kenya, a friendly takeover which cements our position in East Africa's banking sector. We also remain open to new opportunities in new and existing markets.
How do we create the challenges that faces our economy beyond just running a business? And more, a lot of our younger people find themselves without opportunities. So, Tujiajiri, which has been a job creation program for entrepreneurs, and happy to see that Jane, who is our foundation director, is here. It's quite an ambitious program that looks at creating 2 million jobs. And everywhere you see, so whether it's different sectors, and this is when you talk about future jobs, this is really where the future jobs will be in our own economies, especially in Sub-Saharan Africa. It's about agribusiness, constructions, technology, services, engineering, domestic services. A lot of that is where most of the core of the jobs will be created. It's not going to be the blue collar as we knew them traditionally before. So if businesses and leaders co-invest very strongly, either with government or private sector, you can see more value created. And I'm glad to say that this year we got a strong partner, global partner, the Mastercard Foundation, to co-sign with us a 10 billion program to create 2 million jobs for our younger people in the next 5 years. And I think that will be the most aggressive job creation model in our economy by private sector entities since independence. I don't think there's any aggressive program today. So some in Kenya, we have 34,000 young beneficiaries. The target is to reach more than 200,000 people in the next 5 years in terms of businesses. But we have also scaled it up into Tanzania, into Rwanda, into Uganda, and obviously cover the entire region.
All right, indeed, that is good news, especially with what the CEO said on the aggressive job creation model as a result of the partnership with the Mastercard Foundation with KCB for the Tujiajiri farm. Now, moving on, African airlines are facing a hit of up to $40 million from the coronavirus outbreak, an industry body said on Wednesday. Lucy Fielder reports.
The coronavirus epidemic could cost African airlines tens of millions of dollars in revenue this year, a global industry body has said. In a potentially devastating hit to often struggling airlines, that count on lucrative Chinese routes to fund their expansion. Airlines around the world have suspended or modified flights amid the outbreak, which began in mainland China at the end of last year and has now spread to more than 60 countries worldwide. The global cost to the aviation industry is projected to be $29 billion this year, the International Air Transport Association has said. And at a conference in Addis Ababa on Wednesday, the organisation's special envoy to Africa said African airlines face a hit of as much as $40 million. The IATA had already forecast before the outbreak that African airlines would make a loss of around $200 million this year. Tewolde Gebre-Mariam, chief executive of the continent's biggest carrier, Ethiopia Airlines, said the company had seen air travel demand decline by 20%. His airline has faced criticism online for not cancelling flights to China, as Kenya, Tanzania and Rwanda have done. On Tuesday, Kenya also halted direct flights from 2 cities in northern Italy, the location of the biggest cluster of coronavirus cases in Europe.
Right, now moving on from that, American shoppers in New Jersey have been hit hard by the coronavirus epidemic with little to no goods left in supermarkets. Take a look.
American shoppers confronted a rush on goods and long lines at grocery stores on Friday, March 13th, waiting to buy essentials like toilet paper, pasta, and bottled water as a worsening coronavirus crisis stoked fears of shortages across the United States. The run on certain goods prompted major retailers to enforce purchase limits to ensure stores' shelves were not stripped bare. Still worried shoppers cleared out grocery and drugstore shelves from Houston to Los Angeles to New Jersey suburbs of Clifton and Paramus as the virus spread and President Donald Trump declared a national emergency to fight the spread of the disease, which has killed 41 people in the United States. Big businesses including Amazon.com have urged employees to work from home, while schools, universities and cultural institutions are closed across the country.
I'm a little concerned at the overall panic. I am pregnant and I'm due to give birth at the end of May. And I'm concerned with how that's going to affect my delivery. Right now, a lot of the hospitals have put visitor restrictions, so it'll only be my husband and I as of right now. Right now, I'm trying to keep it calm. I'm trying to have it not change very much. I am a stay-at-home mom. So the only thing that has changed is my husband is working from home now, and that's causing a little bit of chaos in having him home all the time.
And at a New Jersey Trader Joe's in Clifton, rows where meat, frozen goods and bread should have been, it was noticeably sparse Friday.
It was quite crowded, and we had to wait outside for about 20 minutes before they let us in.
All right, thank you very much for that story. Now it's time to take a short break, and when we get back, we'll be discussing how you can actually save more and reduce debt, especially during these tough times. Do stay with us, and you can continue to interact with me on Twitter and Facebook at TV47KE and at Lucy_Riley, or you can send in a text message to 22047. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you so much for choosing to stay with us right here on TV47. Remember, the hashtag is Days Counter KE, and you're watching Days Counter. Now, it's now time for that part of the discussion where we actually talk to a few experts and young people who will give us a few of their comments on the topic of the day, of which today we'll be talking about how you can save more and reduce debt. So I'll just start right away with my nearest right. I've got with me Miss, I hope I'm saying it correctly, Miss Pauline Wairimu. You are a financial coach and a CEO. Karibu sana.
Asante.
Thank you. And then thereon, please kindly introduce yourself. You are joining us for the first time today. Please take the stage.
Okay, my name is Makomere Jacob, a student at MKU, fourth year student.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jacob, for joining us. Yes.
My name is Margaret Mokuria, a fourth year Mount Kenya University student.
All right, Margaret, thank you very much.
My name is John Masharia, a student at Mount Kenya University, and thank you for having me here.
Right. Thank you very much, Masharia. So let's just dive right into it. The first things first, is it even important and is it even a need to be saving during this time? Remember, after the president made the statement just yesterday, he encouraged most people to be going home, and a lot of people you've been able to notice have been buying and stocking their supplies. That means they're spending more money now more than ever, and they will not necessarily be going to work every day. And so let's just begin by saving. Is it a necessity now, or is it even important, and why should it be an important thing to discuss right now? Perhaps yourself, Pauline?
Lucy, thank you for the question. It is a necessity to save, despite whatever is going on. We should never maybe just get caught up in the unexpected. I know we are going through an unexpected time of panic, and we might just be tempted to delve into what we had put in just to try and appease ourselves. So for me, it's important that you sort of just calm down first and foremost and really look at where exactly or why should you be spending your savings despite what is going on. So yes, you must still continue saving.
Right. Maybe Margaret, you can actually comment on that. Are you even saving, first of all, seeing that you're about to transition into the job market or employment sector, and we're talking about what's currently happening, but even beyond this, saving generally as a culture is not something that has been widely adopted here in Kenya. So what is your take on it? And number two, are you even saving?
Okay, thank you for that. Saving is necessary because you not only save for the short-term use, but as well for the long-term. And currently, I'm as well saving as well. The little I get, I'm saving.
Right, yeah. Right. And, you're saying that you're saving, but you remember that when you look at the numbers, statistics, less than 12% of Kenyans actually put money aside. And we need to understand as little as how much can you put aside. Maybe yourself, Joshua, you can talk about, do you first of all have an income? And if you do, how much of that income do you put aside to save?
Okay, thank you, Lucy. I'm Jacob.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. To me, saving should be a routine structure of doing something, because I believe in life you're uncertain of certain things sometimes, and you're not sure what is going to happen actually tomorrow, or maybe in the next 2-3 years. So as far as the marginal propensity to save is concerned, yes, I understand I need to put something aside, and whatever I need to put aside, it actually should be equal to what I get or what I earn. So you also don't need to save much or more than the basic things you're supposed to be having. So for example, if someone earns like a basic salary of 30,000 and the net maybe, let's say it's around 26,000. So you also need to have your basic, like removing your monthly spending, and then whatever you get as far as maybe, let's say for example 2,000 shillings, you'll be able to save 2,000 shillings to cater for any emergencies that will actually occur. And as far as this epidemic is concerned, we don't need to have, the panic actually is there, but we also need to understand that the government is there and it has actually the wide eye that is giving us the directive on what actually we need to do. So we just need to be calm and we see the way forward.
Let me just take you back a little bit. Where did you get this saving culture? I mean, you're speaking of, it's good to put aside a certain amount, say your net income is X amount, 30,000. And so where do you begin to get this culture? Because a lot of people, and young people for that matter, do not actually have it. Or do you believe that, maybe Masharia, do you believe that young people are saving more, or they don't really even take note of or take into practice this particular culture?
Thank you so much for that question. To me, actually, young people are not saving. It's so unfortunate in Kenya. The youths are spending their money When you come to the boy child, they spend their money in gadgets such as phones, partying. When you come to the girl child, they spend their money on shopping, some things like clothes and shoes. So they are not exactly saving money enough for them to take care of their future side shocks that may arise. So there is that problem of the youth not saving. There is also the other problem of high cost of living. The youths are running quite a little amount of money where they are employed. The employers are not paying them very well because we have many youths out there looking for the same job. So the employers are taking advantage and paying the youths very little amount of money, therefore not giving them the power to take control of their future. So that ends up the youths with having little money to save and end up in debt cycles, borrowing from one branch, from Tala, from one mobile banking account to the other, and they end up in debt cycles every now and then.
Thank you for talking about debts, and maybe we can go back to you, Pauline. Debt is something that's just growing and growing, and even now you'll find that debt, the rate at which we take mobile loan debts is growing higher. How can we remedy this situation? Because it's even on a national level, you'll find that it's something that's affecting the whole country.
Okay. So in my view, this saving culture or spending culture is actually something that we inherited. We were brought up thinking that when you get pocket money for the student, it means spending. No one ever told you, put away this amount. And that is where our problems maybe began. So instilling a saving culture right now at our age is sort of very foreign, because you'll have to reboot and instead of consuming, then begin by saying, I need to save. How do you save? So my recommendation is any income that comes into your hands, irregardless, whether you've been given pocket money, you did a side hustle, you got some income from a job, put away 20% of whatever that amount. So if you earn 1,000, please keep away 200 and know that you have 800 at your disposal.
I like how you, sorry to interrupt you, you've said 20%. Is it a possibility to save 20%? Have you been able to put 20%, or is it more or less?
Oh, it's more. Yeah, to me, I'd say 10%, 15%.
So for me, that's where it all begins. So instead of spending fast, put away. And we've all agreed that this isn't the norm. So it's a discipline that you must start practicing. Just like losing weight. You cannot say you want to lose weight, but you're still continuing to eat whatever is making you lose weight. Then secondly, you asked about debt. Now, when you borrow, it just simply means you're not able to meet your needs, your current needs. There's a deficit somewhere that you need to fill. And that is as a result of even not knowing then how much do you need to survive? How much does it take you to live for this one semester or in this 1 month? Sit down and tabulate it, item by item. And remember what I've said. So whatever you get, first pay yourself. I call it paying yourself. Then you can have the 80% to spend. And you break it further to even what is necessary first.
Right.
Do you buy the gadgets first, or do you budget for your food at campus? This is where the discipline aspect comes in. So yes, we've been a bit randy, even as a country.
Right. Maybe I can just take this last question to you before we take a break. You know, last Friday, President Donald Trump declared the COVID-19 a national disaster and basically halted all the payments of student loans. And so that's good news for them. But we're trying to look at if this is a possibility right here in Kenya, and what would be the ripple effect for that? Do you, what comment or views do you have on that? And do you think it's achievable for us to also have the same thing happening here in Kenya?
Okay, to me, when it comes to here in Kenya, on what maybe he said, I would say like it's not advisable, it's not recommendable, because remember, students paying back their loan, this is what will also finance others tomorrow. So in this case, if they don't pay back, meaning tomorrow there'll be a problem in those students who will need finance to fund their education.
Right. So basically, should it happen or not? It's a no from you.
Yeah, it's a no from me.
Interesting. Do you agree with that?
No, I don't think. For me, it is a yes answer.
Yes. Why so?
One thing we need to understand: United States is a developed country, and they have well preparation in any emergencies. So hearing that Donald Trump has actually halted the payment from the interests of the loans, it actually gives the student, the ability to cater for other things that maybe the government shouldn't just come in immediately and help them. So if it happened here in Kenya, why not? Because interest will actually give you a very big issues and troubles. You want to put something, but there is a higher cost of that. So if it come in Kenya, it's a good thing. However, I really don't think if Kenyan government can have that.
Can have that. All right, that's the topic for discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to take a short break right now. When we come back, we'll pick up this discussion and keep on understanding how can we save more and reduce debt, and especially during this time that we are going through as a country and as worldwide together. Do stay with me and interact with me on @TV47KE and @Lucy_Riley. Welcome back, and thank you so much for choosing to stay with us right here on the Days Counter. Remember, the hashtag is DaysCounterKE, and you can tweet me on @TV47KE or @Lucy_Riley. Now, I'm now joined by Mr. Samuel and Caroline, who will be joining our discussion to talk a little bit more on the same topic. And so if we pick it up from where we took off just before we went, you find that the NSSF has been working together with the KRA to improve and track how people do not remit the monies every month towards their pension fund. Why are we even having this discussion in the first place? Because the goal of the NSSF anyways is to put money aside for when you retire. But now we have to actually go back, or they have to go back to find ways to ensure that people are ready and remitting the monies every month. So maybe I can just start off with yourself, Pauline. Why are we having this discussion up to this day and age?
Okay, because for people who've been employed and have been in that space for some time, many of us live a lifestyle that's equivalent to our current salary, which includes, among other things, per diem, maybe overtime, transport allowance and all that. But when we retire, the reality is that it is based on our basic pay, and which one is usually lower. So when you get to 60 or 55, whichever comes first, depending on your organization, truth comes that your pension amount will be far much less. And we've seen cases, old people in this country really suffering. And that, again, is when all the things that didn't happen to you when you're working, e.g. getting ill, children have left the nest, you're on your own, they no longer support you because, well, the children nowadays, once you've educated them, they leave and you're really on your own. So I think it's a real big issue, the aging population. And no wonder then NSSF and KRA have to sort of just forcefully make you start putting away an amount now. And it's better, I would advise our young viewers, our guests, that the minute you start getting an income which is regular, please start saving now for your retirement. It sounds very far-fetched, but it's only a click away.
Maybe I can ask even one of the guests I have, maybe yourself, Carol, if you're even putting money aside, and do you have a pension scheme or plan even for retirement? Is it something that you're thinking about, that you're doing right now, or it's something that you will do when, perhaps even when you're done with school?
Thank you so much for the question. I think it's a question which leaves a lot to be answered, bearing in mind that for the youth, especially also for those people also employed, you find that if it's self-employment, you find it hard even to remit the 200, because I think the minimum is 200. So you find that there's that reluctance of the people thinking that maybe one day I'll never grow old, but time is catching up with us. Okay, for me, I started, and I'm sorry, maybe along the way I stopped, but I think I have to go back to the drawing board and do something about it.
All right, where is the challenge? Where do you think the challenge is then when it comes to, maybe at some point she started and others even have started and they stop along the way and maybe are not doing it at all? Where's the challenge?
For me, I think the challenge is looking at the Kenya today. Many businesses are being hit hard by the economy in Kenya today. You find that even employees are paying their workers very little amount of money. If you have that business that you are doing at home, it's not doing very well. So that challenge, I think, is what has brought about people not saving for their future, because the money that they have is so little that even it cannot be able to cater for their daily needs. So I think it's a challenge. The other thing I think is about financial discipline. You should, like our advisor here said, you should have financial discipline. You should always teach yourself to save. You should always come up with a budget for next month. If you are running monthly income, you should always come up with a budget so that you may be able to develop yourself and gain that financial discipline.
Right.
Yes.
Perhaps you can just talk a little bit on, seeing that every single time we have these discussions and we are told to go ahead and save and put aside a certain amount of money. And even, first of all, let me just understand, do you actually save? Do you have an extra income, or do you have an income on the side?
Okay, thank you for the question. Personally, I don't have an income.
Okay.
But the issue of saving has come to my mind that we'll once grow old.
Mm-hmm.
Once we will not be having income even after you are retired. So you need to save. When you start working, you need to save as little as you can, because it will increase more and more. And the time you are retiring, you'll have a good sum to keep you moving.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Now, this is better said. When you say it sounds good. Now, when it comes down to action, you've talked about not having an income. Majority of the youth in Kenya, a large percentage, really don't have an income anyway. There's lack of employment, and we are actually trying to reach to a place where we can have self-employment, right? And so, as someone who is coming from that side where you know very well, perhaps it's some extra 1-2 here you get, maybe it's pocket money here and there. Do you really go back and say, of this small amount I have, I'm going to put aside 20% or 15%?
Okay. With the pocket money, not working as a student, saving becomes a very difficult thing, but it is important. So you need to discipline yourself. Even if it is 5%, you cannot do the 20%. For the student, it is very difficult because you find the pocket money is differing. One semester you are given a lot of money, another semester you are given a few coins. So you will end up spending the extra coin you saved to the semester, which you were given little more. So even if we can save 5%, it will work out very well for us, but 20% it is an issue.
It's an issue. I like that you're being very honest. 20% is a big number, even for people who are employed. You find that 20% is not something that we're doing. And maybe I can just open the floor now and allow you to just throw one or two questions to our expert, seeing that she's in a position where she can be able to answer some of the questions that young people have. And maybe I can allow yourself to speak to our very able coach.
Okay, maybe I have 1 or 2 questions. One, I would like to know, as youth, we are the majority of the Kenyans. So I would really like to know what is it that is not clear about the youth in terms of saving? Is it awareness? Is it that if we have like 5,000, I'm being paid 5,000 per month, is it possible for me to save and still sustain the lifestyle I'm living? What can a youth do for him to be able to save? And at the end of the day, it will be okay. When we talk about saving, the youth will be comfortable saying, okay, even if I earn 5,000, I can at least save a little amount. What is it not there? Because I believe there's a gap. There's something which is not clear about the youth. And that's not only the youth, also even the abroad. Because you find that this time maybe you're earning 100,000. You want to live a lifestyle that is up to your standard. You want to go to rent a house about 50,000. Because at the end of the day, your friends are there. What is it that is not clear about it, about saving? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so to begin with, I think at your age, there's a lot of peer pressure. Even at our level, there's a lot of peer pressure. And this is what you need to first overcome. The second reason is just lack of maybe a clear goal setting process. What do you want to achieve this year? And this year, break it down to 3 months from now, break it down to this week. So if you do not have a roadmap, it's like living here to Kisumu when you have no idea how much it will cost you in terms of transport. You don't know how long, you do not know the weather. Then chances are high you may get there way after the scheduled time or not even get there. So for me, that's the first area. You need to set your personal goals. Be they financial, be they education, be they be health. And secondly, we've just agreed we are from a consuming background. It's nobody's fault. That's what we were taught from school. Here is pocket money, it's for spending. So you're sort of going against the grain, but it takes a lot of discipline and change of mindset. And you said if you have 5,000, can you save? Yes, because I recommend that you stick to the 20. Why? Because as you grow, the pressures of life will keep increasing. You'll soon get married, you'll soon get children, they will want school fees, there's books, there's rent. So this is a very good time because you probably just need to worry about your studies. Somebody's taking care of your school fees. So start by paying yourself now, whether it is pocket money or from a side hustle. And practice makes perfect. It's a journey. Don't ever forget that. No one says start and stop and you'll be, no, it's a journey. A journey of 1,000 miles starts with one step.
All right, I want to throw the last question perhaps to every one of you to give me just one parting shot as you answer this question, right? And the question is, how then can you reduce debt? How can you reduce debt? On an individual level, perhaps you have debts. If you have right now, what do you call this, airtime that you borrowed from Safaricom, that's debt, right? If you have maybe 50 bob that you borrowed somewhere at school, that's debt, right? And so we're thinking of debt as this big billions and millions of shillings, but when we go back to it, really, we have debt that's just lingering around and accumulating so that we can count those big numbers. So maybe just now, starting from my furthest right, yourself, John, you can tell me, how can I reduce debt?
I think all about saving revolves about financial discipline. Coming up with a budget can help you save a lot, because many of the youth do not come up with budgets on how they will spend the money when the money comes. So that makes them to kind of have impulse buying when they go to the supermarket to buy something. They just pick things because they have money and they do not have a budget plan or a plan that they can spend the money with. So coming up with a budget will help you plan yourself and also will help you do away with that problem of borrowing.
Fantastic. Thank you. Carol, 30 seconds, please. I'm being told our time is almost up.
Number one, have a budget. Take a debt when it's necessary. Understand the purpose of that debt. Come up with a repayment plan.
Thank you very much. Maybe a topic for next time is there a good debt? Is there a bad debt? Right. Samuel?
So to me, in saving, we need first to avoid peer pressure. Because to us, we are not able to save because of the peer pressure. So I see my friend with a smartphone, which is around 20,000, and I have that desire to have that phone. So what we love to save, we need to be contented first with what we have and stop dreaming of other things which we are not able to cater for. Let us first save, other things will come back later. Let's avoid peer pressure.
All right, thank you. Pauline?
So list all your debts down, starting from the smallest amount to the highest, even in terms of interest rates. Which one costs you more? Get rid of those first and then keep reducing, so come up with a schedule. But above all, it's important to live below your means. It's not a crime to actually just live below what you're making. That's the best way to get out of debt, or reduce in that case.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us during this show and segment of the Day's Count. Of course, we've been able to learn a lot, and especially during this time when we have a sort of frenzy or a panic to buy more and spend more. We must also remember to live below our means, as we've been advised. And of course, you can interact with us always on @TV47KE and @Lucy_Riley. Send in a text message to 22047. Let me know your views and what you think about how you can save more and reduce debt. Now, until next time, up next is Shina Laupeo. Do stay with us.